Welcome back, my fleet. Finally back to Requiem of Vengeance. This might be a short one because it's more of a cool-down episode, really, and honestly, not much happens except for one thing. Or it might not be. Who knows? Junkyard. We begin in space, in a colony. She's walking with a child. She's a mother. Boom! Everything's on fire. Now we know why she was staring into the fire in the first episode, and it's all this thing's fault. She wakes up from the dream. Yes, it was a dream. As they arrived at their base. Or what's left of it. Ambush! Machine gun fire! Area and Pinky fire back while Charlie and Tankman go around to flank them. They get close and see a scared Zeon lady just blasting away. They tell her they're Zeon and she just collapses. RIP. She's still alive, don't worry. Medic tends her and Area asks her what happened here. She tells her that it was a mobile suit. One single white devil. And there you go. Proof that these guys should be dead. The Terminator was more than capable of chasing these guys and killing them. Hell, he overtook them. But twice. He just lets them go. I have no idea. I still have no idea how to justify that behavior other than plot armor. Like, just straight up blatant plot armor. I mean, look at all the damage he's done at this base. He kills everything. But again, the main group gets away twice because he just decides to just stand there. That's so silly. Anyway, Tankman tells him there is a recycling center, a junkyard if you will, nearby that they could go to, and they do. I still don't see any warehouses big enough for a Type 61. Maybe that one. I don't think so. But at least we get to see the beautiful Romanian countryside. This is actually nice looking. They see the junkyard. That's a huge junkyard. How are they not found yet? They approach it, and is that a T-55? Whoa! Or I guess it's a TR-85 since we're in Romania. Look at that! Even this far into the future, these things are still around and running. Somewhat. Checkpoint! Get out of the car! They enter the base and meet the guy in charge. Major, I don't remember his name. Tells them that the base is full. You can leave your injured, but you gotta get. What an asshole! Says Charlie. And I agree. But then the mechanic man makes his appearance. An old friend of Iria. Look at her, she's so happy. Sees Charlie, says hello, and then asks where the other two are. They dead. Oh. Sablefish flies over. This many activity on the ground and it's still been found yet? That's pretty lucky. Mechanic Man says that they should catch up, but Era tells him that they've been told to leave. And Mechanic Man says, leave it to me. Later that night, everyone's eating and drinking, and look at that water sim. Whoa. Mechanic Man comes in and tells them they can stay. Yippee! Then they start talking about things, and Aria here is looking at her family picture, and I swear to God that is a different woman. Anyway, she gets up and asks the Mechanic Man if he can build them 2 working Zakus. Oh boy, here we go. As he ponders about that possibility, she gets another earring. She runs out and sees fire in the distance. 20 kilometers away to be exact. Everyone runs after her, asking what's going on. She tells them the Terminator is coming, so go and build 2 Zakus, now! Mechanic Man assembles his team and tells them what they're going to do. And they all basically laugh it off because of course they would. This lady here asks how they're supposed to do that. This isn't an assembly line, she said. Her exact words. Which I think implies they do not have all the tools or machinery to put things back together into a working thing, especially in a short period of time. Realistically, right, with what they have, I think they will need a couple weeks or even months just to get one working. But you will see in a bit that isn't the case. Somehow. Aria then steps up and attempts to give a pep talk. Emphasis on attempt. So her idea to get them to do this is to tell them that the Gundam is faster and can mop Zakus easily. Aria? You are basically telling them that their effort will not do anything. I guess having something is better than nothing, but still. Telling them this isn't helpful. But for some ungodly reason, it worked. And so we get a montage of them working. And credit where credit is due, that's a cool looking Zaku. Welding on the extra material for armor, like how they did in World War II, is a pretty nice touch. Since Gundam is kind of based off World War II stuff. Even though it doesn't really make sense considering the beam rifle has the same power as a battleship, but that's a problem from the later episode. Then we cut to Aria talking to Pinky, saying something about modding the caliber of the machine guns, and then not elaborating on that. What? What do you mean modding the caliber? What did you do? You can't just say this and just leave it at that, yo. What do you mean modern in caliber? Anyway, the major calls her and orders her to stop it. You building these suits is gonna attract attention. I still am quite surprised they haven't been found out yet, but for some reason building suits inside a building will do it. Even though you have people working on things out in the open, but what do I know? So they walk back to the hangar and... Is that wood? And we see 2 fully functioning Zakus built within a day. What the actual... How did you do this with the limited time, resources, and manpower you had? Okay, to play devil's advocate, maybe, just maybe, mobile suits are assembled how Legos are, right? You just click them together, right? Zeon had a couple of years to build the mobile suit force, yes, but the EF built the majority of theirs, if not all of it, during the 1 Year War. Being able to build all that and take the fight to Zeon a couple months kind of implies suits can be slapped on together and they just work or something. I don't know. Like, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I think the 1 Year War should have been a multi-year war. It just doesn't make any sense for all these suits to exist within a year. R&D and actually producing them, that takes a while. When Gundam, the original series, was created, you only had like a handful of suits, or maybe like 10. And, that I think that's believable for them to be able to build in a year. But as time moves on and more stories come out, more people wanting to put their stamp on Gundam, create their own suits and whatever, this 1 year time frame is just impossible, I think. If the suits were like one-off prototypes, that's fine. I think that's really fine. But some of the later editions are like apparently mass-produced models, which maybe for Zeon they can do that, but the EF, when we first see them, they were literally on the verge of defeat. The only major place they had left was Jaburo. How did they mass produce all this? How did they do all what? How did they build all this? I just think that there are just too many stories set within the 1 Year War. If the story doesn't introduce new suits, that's completely fine. You're using what you have and you're just building off from that. But when they do, I feel like they're cramming things into an already bloated time frame. They are starting to branch out more to the rest of the UC with Moon Gundam and I don't know, Katana. Katana's weird, dude. Oh my goodness. And narrative, I guess it's a couple years from now, but but that's good. It's good that they're spreading out because the UC is more than a 1 year war. Like there's almost a decade between Gundam and Zeta, and that's like a huge time frame you can just go wild in. I know there are stories there, but most of them are just not translated, or they're just like more like source books, really. Or I haven't read them yet. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, my favorite suits are the ones that were introduced later, the Zuda, my namesake, and the Peasant Watch. It's just that under the circumstances, some of their existence just doesn't really make a lot of sense. Zuda is fine, I guess. Zuda was like competing with Zaku 1, so it existed before the 1 Year War. Peasant Watch, I feel like, as much as I like that suit, I feel like the production of that one's way too quick. Like, it started producing and when it started researching, not even producing, researching it in like June, in the middle of 79. Like, how did you go from... It's not just a Dwatch, it's like an entire line of suits as well. Like, how do you do that within like 6 months, dude? What? Or maybe I'm wrong. Tell me. Anyway, Major tells them to stop and either dismantle them or camouflage them. My dude, they're in a building. What do you mean camouflage? Boom! Missile! Gigantic explosion! And no one is dead! And the suits are totally fine too! What? The entire hangar is all kinds of messed up, but the suits are fine? That's very lucky! And a bit silly! They get into their suits and start blasting a bit. Aria gets another earring and raises her double shield thingy, which is actually pretty cool. And luckily for her, the Terminator decided to use the minigun instead of that miniaturized battleship gun right there. And guess what? He has a friend, a Jim. It's them, Mario and Luigi. So that's episode 3, The Junkyard. Again, it was more of a cool-down episode after the first 2, and not much really happens, aside from the frickin' Zaku building speedrun. If you'd like to see more, please do join the fleet and subscribe, or just leave a like, or both. I prefer both. Support support me by joining the Elite Pilots memberships if you want. Yes, in order to rank up, you gotta pay. Nepotism. That's how this fleet works. But seriously, I can't really offer much right now other than a thank you, but hopefully down the line, I'm able to provide more. Got me a Discord, and he's a doctor, in constant need of a doctor. And also Twitch, where I stream games, but I also stream here too. Until next mission, pilots, take care, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.